right? So like you just can't
Yeah.
get them to go.
Yeah,
So
you have to make sure
I
that you
got
have like the right ones. Yeah.
I got 3 out of 5 that actually germinated. So I'm trying to get those to actually sprout now. Then I got a couple mango seeds that actually got roots, but I don't know. Mango seeds are so hard to get to sprout for me. I don't get it. I think I just need to either start them in the dirt or let them go longer outside of the dirt because I think it's almost like a transplant shock thing when you actually put them in the dirt when they get roots. I don't get it. I'm gonna give them a few more weeks and then just like give up on it. I don't know, but they got roots, so they got to do
Hey.
something. I don't get
All
it.
right. Well, if this is your first time listening to Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy, um, you just heard Jeremy puts them in the dirt. So whatever that means to him, that's what he does. So,
Hey, ASAP Ferg,
anyways,
put them in the dirt.
hey, welcome to Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy. I am Paul.
I'm Jeremy.
I think he's Jeremy. Jeremy's with us. All right, so that's Jeremy. And today, Jeremy, what are our discussion points? What are we going to be talking about? What are we looking into? And what's exciting about today's show?
First thing that we want to talk about is Space Jam: A New Legacy. So, hot
Question
movie
mark.
that came out. We want to talk about it a little bit, and if there's time, maybe we can go into our thoughts on the Olympics and who knows
Yeah,
what else.
yeah,
There's a couple
sure.
things I might got saved for after that I kind of want to talk about, but we'll see if we get to them.
That's that North Carolina twang. I might got saved.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Putting them in the dirt,
I
and then you
guess
might got
that's
saved afterwards.
I might got. I think the best Southern thing is used to could. I feel like I love used to
Yeah,
could a lot better than that, but it's hard to
fins
say
to
used to
do.
could anymore.
I'm finna do. Fins to do.
Finna do,
Yeah.
yeah. I was never a finna guy though. I'm always about to do. But like I feel like it takes too hard. People say fixing or fin. I feel like it takes too much. You actually have to try. For me, I have to try to say that. But used to could ain't that hard for me to say. You know what I'm saying? So and then a mug, obviously. That's a classic.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Yeah. So, I don't have any more sayings. That was it. You heard all of the best Paul and Jeremy sayings. We're done with those for now. But what we're not done with is talking about Space Jam: A New Legacy? Question mark. Okay, so Jeremy, if you guys didn't know, Jeremy also has a dope movie podcast. And if you want, do you want to take a second, real quick, just to kind of introduce that, talk about that? Because I think that this is a perfect kind of place to pull that in as well, just to let the viewers know what else they could be tuning in that they may enjoy, that they
All
will
right. So
enjoy.
I have a podcast. It's with me and a few other people. We release an episode every month. It's called Why Do I Love This Movie? You can find it on anywhere you get podcasts, anywhere where Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy is. Why Do I Love This Movie is because I'm obsessive about putting podcasts up in different places. So what we do is we pick a movie that we love. Somebody picks a movie, and then the other person that's on the episode tries to guess why they love that movie. So what I like about it, of course, is we get to talk about positivity. We get to talk about things we love. We get to share our love of movies, and hopefully you'll listen to the movies too. So Paul and I actually did an episode about the ESPN 30 for 30 Benji. So
Yeah,
if you want to check that out, that's a crossover that we did with Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy, just to kind of do something different on the sports podcast here. So yeah, I have a movie podcast. We try to give something for y'all for positivity and just a different type of entertainment.
yeah, for sure. Awesome. So, again, that's an awesome podcast. I liked a lot of the different shows that I've heard about on there. I still haven't seen some of the movies, even though I've watched the reviews for them. So I have to do that as well. But now bringing that back to today's show, right? We're kind of doing a little bit of a video review, a little bit of a chat with Space Jam, a new legacy. So, Jeremy, why do you love this movie?
Hey, I wouldn't get all into that. Love. Let's say we talking about it. We're gonna talk about Space Jam: A New Legacy. So, all
Mhm.
right, I'll just go with my quick kind of what I thought about the movie, and it was just hard for me to get into. I was constantly thinking about how it was compared to the first one. And the thing about the movie is it's a movie. They put a lot of effort into it. You could tell they did a lot of work. They tried to make it a product that people would love, but it comes across as a little too self-aware, a little too like, cynical almost in a way. And it's really hard to watch this movie and to think about this movie without comparing it to the first movie. So I watched this movie one day. The next day I watched the first Space Jam movie just to make sure I wasn't like romanticizing it in comparison and saying, well, the other one's better, blah, blah, blah. The other one's better. The other one's better because the other one has heart. It's not just a kind of a display of things. Like Space Jam: A New Legacy is basically a big commercial for number one LeBron James, number two Warner Brothers movies. So you can just get the feeling that everything they say is like, LeBron's the best thing ever. LeBron's this, LeBron's that. So it's all about LeBron. And then secondly, it's all about how much stuff they can pack into this 2 hour time slot related to different Warner Brother properties. So I did like it kind of at the end for some reason. Why was the mask at the basketball game? I like that. I thought that was just random and funny to see him there. And some of the other characters that were there, I thought it was funny. But
Yeah.
I felt like they kind of went overboard in a way that made it kind of hard to stay engrossed in the movie. So it just like it wasn't a bad movie, but it just didn't draw me in. It didn't keep me in. And maybe that's just because at the point I am right now, a movie about cartoons just isn't what I need. But like, respect to everybody for what they tried to do, but it just didn't work for me exactly.
Yeah. I, so I'll tell you about this movie. I think I had to watch it 4 times completely to actually finish it because I kept like losing track or finding something else that was interesting. And not to say that this was a good or bad movie or what it might have been, right? Just yet. But I think that one of the points that Jeremy was talking about, like, you're just not at that point to kind of watch a cartoon movie with like kids cartoon type movie type of thing, like it just that mix was kind of something that was different, right? Because when we saw the first Space Jam, and I was thinking about this earlier, when you saw the first Space Jam, like all the people that saw it at that time were like people that knew who Bugs Bunny or was, and Daffy Duck and or Donald Duck, and right, and then sorry, Daffy, yeah, right, and then they grew up on these people, right? But none of these kids that are watching this now really grew up on Looney Tunes, right? Like they got Dora, they got other stuff. They got TikTok. They grow up more on TikTok than they do on Looney Tunes. Like if you switched out all of the Looney Tune characters for TikTok personalities, they'd be like, "Man, this is an awesome movie," because that's what it was. And for me, what I will say about the movie, I had that same kind of situation where I wasn't really sure exactly what they were trying to showcase to us, right? Like I wasn't sure what the storyline was. Was it Warner Brothers showing all of the stuff that they have, like showing that they got clout because of all their movie collections and how they can like basically do everything? Was it about LeBron and his son? Was it about like LeBron being a father or getting out of basketball's way, or was it about Bugs Bunny? Like there were too many different main storylines for the movie to really come together. I felt, and I think that was the hard part for me, is that too many storylines didn't really come together the way that I was anticipating or wanting it to. And it made it harder to connect with the film. I think that's we both kind of felt. It's like it's just a little bit harder to connect, at least for me, at certain points. So now that I've said that part, just thinking about what Warner Brothers did, right? Adding in all of these characters, adding in all their different movies, all the different things, and putting them all in one space. What did you think about that specific aspect of Space Jam: A New Legacy? Yeah, New Legacy. Yeah.
I didn't see the point of them going through all of that different stuff. Like they went to the Matrix, they went to Harry Potter, they had Game of Thrones in there, they had a DC universe type thing, and then they had a separate thing with Wonder Woman, which is like in comic book form. It
Yeah.
has so many different references that I just didn't understand the need for all that stuff. And honestly, when I started watching it, I would have watched it in several different sittings too. But my mom was watching it too. And anytime I watch movies with my mom, she's always asking questions, and I'm like, it makes me pay attention to the movie because she's asking questions. I'm like, I guess I got to see
Yeah,
what's
I know
going
what you
on
mean.
there. So it keeps me engaged a little bit more. So if it hadn't been for my mom being there at the same time, I probably wouldn't have watched it all in one sitting because I think I'd gotten up at the point where LeBron got into the serververse
Hmm.
and then Al G Rhythm challenged him to the basketball game. I was up and I went up and like washed dishes or something. I don't know. I started watching it when I woke up on
Yeah.
Saturday morning or Friday morning, and it was like 8 in the morning when I started watching it. So I think I was washing dishes from breakfast or something. I don't know. Either way, I needed a little mental break at that point already. So I got up and washed dishes. So I just felt like that was a point like right before he started traveling through all the different worlds and planets and stuff. And it was so much that I didn't get. And honestly, I just didn't care that much about the different stuff. Like I'm done with Game of Thrones, man. I watched it. I was disappointed by the last season. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? Harry Potter. I didn't grow up watching Harry Potter. I've seen the movies,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not something that just like I'm just like, wow. They had the Rick and Morty cameo. I never watched Rick and Morty. I mean, there's so much of it that like I just in the Matrix. I watched the first one. I started getting really confusing to me after that, and so I stopped watching Matrix. Like, there's not a whole bunch of that stuff that I really am tied to. So it didn't really work for me that way either. You know, like I
Yeah.
said, the best part about all of it was just that there was all those random people at the game for no reason. Like I said, the mask was there, which I thought was just really funny, just him somehow being under control and watching the basketball game. And then there was like what the Penguin was there or something like that from Batman Returns, and Pennywise the Clown was there, and all of these like random characters who a lot of them are evil. They were just like having a good time watching the basketball game. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the
They're
guys
like
from A
cheering
Clockwork
for the
Orange, they
Goon
weren't out.
Squad. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't out harassing people. They were just having a good time. Apparently, you can rein in all these bad guys as long as there's basketball. So it worked
I
out really
know.
well, I think.
It's actually really interesting. Like, where were the back fights? Like, who got shanked in this
Yeah,
game? Like,
yeah.
who was over there gambling? Who lost money? What type of relationships were built? Because there was a lot of interaction, a lot of different people from a lot of different movies. That that's definitely an interesting point. I didn't think about that, but now I do. Um, I will say one thing that I take away from this movie and how it was put together. I feel like Warner Brothers really just they're using this movie to kind of showcase what they can do with their technology. And I feel like this is what that future is going to be for them is really going and saying, "Hey, how can we make a product even better by using other products that we own already? How can we reinvest those and continue to make money by pulling people from different audiences and different crowds?" And that's a really cool marketing thing. And they probably said, well, if we're going to do that, we need to go big. How can we go big? Let's do a second Space Jam. Let's get the biggest athlete in the world, and that's what they did. They didn't care if he could act. Like, they just needed people to come out, and I guess I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself, but they just needed people to come out and see the movie to see what they could really do with their technology and put them um um uh but I guess more or less, like, yeah, like, put them on notice where this is what we have, this is what we're going to be doing, and you better have a really good product or else you're not going to be competing with us. So I feel like what Warner Brothers did with this movie was really kind of showcase themselves on a big range, right? Because movies like that type of movie that's being produced and sent to movie theaters and stuff like that, right? Like, they're going at a style as well, so not everybody's seeing that same thing, so I think that now that they have that, did they buy HBO Max or something like that, or HBO?
I'm not sure exactly how that works because they might, but they might also just have a certain deal with certain movies that are going. I'm not sure exactly.
Mm. Yeah, because I was like Game of Thrones. Like I didn't know that they owned Game of Thrones, and I imagine either they have to own it or
Yeah,
yeah, they have to own it. Like why would they pay that much
yeah. I guess
money
that means
to
they own
put that in
HBO.
there?
Yeah,
Yeah, wow.
yeah.
So they own HBO as well, right? So we'll double check with that, but that's what it seems like, right? So they have a lot that's going for them, and for them, like I said, it's a really good business investment. So I don't know if it really mattered how good or bad the movie was, but they got people talking about it. We're talking about it on the show right now, so something was good about it overall, and that's kind of interesting. So, um, yeah, that was that. Yeah, that was a lot. So,
Yeah. So, all right, like I said, it's almost impossible to talk about this movie without talking about the original, without comparing the two movies.
oh,
Here's
oh,
kind of
I'm gonna
a just a
let
main bare bones problem.
let me ask one quick
Where's
thing.
the space? All right, go ahead.
My bad. I was just gonna ask, do you think that they have an algorithm that actually thought about making this movie and putting LeBron in it and putting all this other stuff? Do you think that how the movie got started
I
and then
mean,
they incorporated that
there
part
is
as
a
well?
thought. Yes, there is a thought that Algae Rhythm wrote this movie. There that is a thought. He made the entire
All
movie.
right.
Yes, I've heard that rumor circulating. So it is
Hey.
possible that Don Cheadle himself wrote the movie.
All right, cool. All right. So now the Space Jam part. So bring it back in because I thought it was interesting. I just didn't want to come back to that point, but I did want to mention it. So the whole space thing. So
Yeah.
let's get back in there.
Yeah. So the first movie had something to do with space because it had aliens, right? And the aliens were
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
abduct the Looney Tunes. There is no space. This is in cyberspace, if anything. It just doesn't, like, they just used the name because they wanted to feature a famous basketball player, and it didn't really have anything to do with space, let alone basketball. Like the game with the style points and the random, you can get 900 points every time if you do it right and all that. That's just that's just like it had nothing to do. They just needed the name. And in that case, they talked about. I've seen this video on YouTube about all these failed Space Jam sequels and spin-off type movies. They wanted one with Tony Hawk called Skate Jam, and they wanted one with like Dale Earnhardt Jr. called Race Jam or something like that. Like there's a whole bunch of different spin-offs they could have done. They could have actually done this movie with basically every MVP, every single NBA MVP could have a Space Jam movie every year, right? Like what's the difference? Why can't we have Giannis in one next year? Kobe definitely could have been in one. There is no difference, right? Like if you just say it's called Space Jam, there needs to be no continuity. It's just every year aliens come down and we just need the best player. Oh, guess what? Who won MVP last year? It's Giannis. He's our guy. Guess who won MVP this year? It's Jokic. He's our guy. You could have just imagine every one of those guys in a Space Jam movie. Jokic with a back to the basket game playing against the Monstars or the Goon Squad or whatever you call them.
Oh, sorry, he's just slow, just continuously slow, just doing everything at one pace. Yeah, and that's his thing. Everybody gets tired out before he scores 1 point. He's just this all game. Um, yeah, I think that with the whole also you guys need to make sure that you turn into like our speed round at the end because I think that we're gonna have some really cool topics for that one at that point. So just make sure that you guys tune in and stay around for that part. The next thing that I wanted to say was, yeah, I think I was thinking about that too when we were talking like Space Jam. Like, what is? I was like, oh, I guess they were jammed into a space, right? Like they were jammed into a little small computer, so it jammed a bunch of people and digitized them into this small computer, which was actually really interesting when you're talking about the future of technology, AI, with everybody like living in these different things. Like they had was it Game Runner? No, what was that movie? Something where it was like dang, what was that movie? There was the one where the guy had the glasses or whatever where he interacted and they had to find these three
Yeah.
different you know what I'm talking about? They had to find like these three
Ready
different
Player
tasks.
One, you're talking about that
Ready
one?
Player One, yeah, Ready Player One, right? Like
Yeah.
that's like a very digital space, right? Where you jam a bunch of people into like a wireless network space, right? So maybe that's the play that they were going for with Space Jam. I'm not sure, but I will say that um I definitely had that same question in my head. Like, what is the space that is being jammed, or is this like a jam space or something? Yeah, I don't know. Also, oh,
You could
um,
even have you could even have a bunch of musicians jamming, having a jam session in space, and that would still be more of a space jam.
yeah. They traveled through space. It was just, I guess, cyberspace. I think that maybe that is it. They're showing the realm of what is created in cyberspace, right? The other one was talking about in space. There's aliens. In cyberspace. There's alien eye, alien intelligence, a different type of alien, right? So, I think that was kind of interesting. I do wish that I would have saw a little bit more some of the other athletes that I thought were going to be in it, because I understand why they made a lot of this cartoonish, right? Um, and this gets into the LeBron acting part, right? I feel
Mhm.
like they made a lot of it cartoonish because for the different reasons we'll talk about later, like LeBron's acting abilities are limited. Like that's just basically one thing, right? So his acting abilities are limited. So what better way to combat that than have an animated LeBron? And the only time he really needs to do too much is when he's actually playing the game of basketball, right? And I think that's why they had to transform them all back to like a human, real world type of person because they had to bring LeBron in that part. You didn't want to make that part animated because yeah, it's a cop out, So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
I think that's why they brought him back, but because of whatever limitations they thought that LeBron might have had acting, they made so much of it, and I think that helped make the movie a little bit more interesting. But yeah, watching it so many times at different parts, I definitely noticed more and more as I watched it along. So um, don't worry about my crazy assessments because these are after four failed attempts of watching it into completion.
well, no, that's the thing though. It's so dense that I understand that you would need to do it. I tried to watch it a second time. I just couldn't do it. I just don't want to be doing this a second time. You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah,
like, hey, this is one of those movies. Like, hey, I watched it once. I got what I can get out of it, and I'd rather just hear other people talk about it, to be honest, than for
yeah.
me to go and watch it myself. Here's a question I had: why do you think they made LeBron be a bad father? Like, it just I don't understand why he had to be such a like. I know that that's not real, like right, like that's not true to life, is it? Because I don't know why it would be a thing that if I made a movie and it was like a fictionalized version of myself, I wouldn't make myself be a bad father. And I guess for the story's sake, you need some sort of conflict. But I also don't think you need anything more than LeBron. You're the best basketball player right now. We need to play basketball, right? Like that's all that's needed. He's he's being such a stern father who doesn't understand why his son wants to design video games, even though everybody has an esports team now. I feel like the little character setup part where he's playing a video game and it gets in the way of his whatever,
Yeah.
that being the whole reason why he wants his son not to play video games. No parent in today's world would be that way. No way you would be like, you can't play video games. I mean, people give their kids an iPad when they're 2 and they say, go on about your business, right? Like, nobody, like, that's not a
Go
thing
on
people
about
would
your life,
say
you little
anymore.
baby.
Yeah, exactly. Raise yourself with this iPad. I need to go be on Twitter or something, right? Like, and then beyond that, LeBron's rich. His kid would probably own an esports team, if not at least be a member of one, right? He would never discourage that when his son could have his own business from esports at that age, especially having designed the game already. Like, it just would it makes no sense how a person who is a father in today's age with a kid that age would ever be upset that his kid played video games. It doesn't make sense. Also, when LeBron was like 14 or something, he was like way taller than everybody, right? Like I don't know, when he was a kid and he was like the average size of everybody on the team. No way, no way he was that short. He was like
Yeah,
13
he
or
was
14.
definitely.
He was at least 6'2".
Hey, I mean, you as um a movie director or staff or whatever, you casting staff, you got to pick people that can act, man. So they had to get a kid that resembled him enough that could act. And I guess that's what they went for. They're like, we don't care about the height, but you couldn't have a light skinned LeBron as a kid. Like that just wouldn't
It
work.
wouldn't matter if he's light skinned or not.
We're like
I would
Albie
rather him
Shore,
be the
wavy
dominant kid
hair.
that he is. I'd rather him be the dominant kid that he is.
He was
See,
dominant,
the thing
man.
about this one
I
compared
don't
to the
know how
last one,
LeBron was as a kid, honestly. So I can't say that. I don't know how he was as a kid.
he wasn't that short. He was at least 5'10".
Hey man, I don't know nothing about it. Yeah, I assume so. Had to be. Hey, maybe he had
However tall
a
Bronny
growth
is,
spurt.
yeah, but however tall Bronny is, he was supposedly that same height at like 14 or something, or 13. However old he was not just like a regular
Like
height kid.
5'7", probably like 5'7", 5'8". Yeah.
Yeah, he was taller than that, definitely. But still, I don't feel like he would be that bad of a parent, and I don't know why he had to be a bad parent for the
Yeah.
movie
Yeah,
to
for
work
sure.
out.
So I'll ask you a question for that one because I thought about a couple. But if you had to think a different way to kind of still get to that same point of this not crypto space, digital space, cyberspace, right? If you had to think about another storyline that still involved the kid with this technology and the gaming, how would you have tried to introduce that didn't have to play off of a bad father in LeBron James?
Well, I'll just say first of all, I would have just made it like the things want to come down for a rematch. Like whatever the Monstars were, they just want a rematch, like double or nothing or whatever. We get you and we get Michael Jordan, and then they like play another game. And then he has to get, maybe he recruits his other guys, and maybe they steal Anthony Davis's talent, whatever. But I think that it could just be the same plot, except they just do it again. Like they never have to give up. They could do this every year. So that's my first thought is like, why not just do the same type of a plot? But
Oh my gosh.
if you have to do some kind of a cyberspace thing, then maybe you do the same stuff with the algorithm. Maybe you do the same thing where he insults the algorithm gets mad and all that stuff. And you just don't have the gaming plot. And then they just like, the algorithm just says, hey, I want to play you in basketball because that's how I'm going to get famous. And he's trying to get a come up off LeBron. And that's it. Like, you don't need to have his son there. Like, again, like I said, I compare it to the first one a lot. In the first one, his kids didn't do anything. His kids just were like, one of his kids played baseball. His other two kids were so young, and then they saw the Looney Tunes take the shorts, and they were just kind of in it, but like they didn't have any. You don't need the kids to have like a significant part of the story. The other movie just kind of went. It just kind of happened. He just went into it, and Jordan was Jordan. He didn't have all this other baggage. You know what I'm saying? And then he
Mm-hmm.
just went into it. It didn't start off like. I mean, it did start off with the highlights and stuff, but then it's like, let's go to LeBron's palatial estate on a hilltop or something for some reason, where if you say ball, the ball comes out of the machine, showing us how much richer he is than everyone. Like that kind of made me like, why do we need to see that? I
Yeah.
understand the man is super rich, right? Like, why do we even need to see that? Can we just act like it's not that way? Can we downplay that a little bit? I just don't. I just don't feel like the family angle was necessary, and you probably could cut out a lot of the movie, and it was so long, really. You probably could
Yeah.
cut it down.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different things that you could have did with the movie that didn't have to necessarily go that way. Um, not necessarily sure why they did. Maybe LeBron brought that in because he wanted to connect with kids as well and kid basketball players, and hopefully they were trying to do that part as well. I'm not necessarily sure, but like they could have did something where um, maybe the kid went to camp in uh, instead of basketball. Even if LeBron would have wanted him to do that, but he's like, I support your dreams. He goes there, and then when he's there, somebody steals his technology. They steal his technology, and they try to run his program. Can't get it to work. So then they digitize him and bring him in, and then LeBron has to search for his son, and this whole journey is about him searching for his son. While the person that stole him didn't really steal him, they just tricked him to think that this is a really cool opportunity, because they're recruiting for some company and they want to, there's a lot of different ways that they could have took that, and they didn't have to go that way. And LeBron is awkward in that state anyway, so it's like, again, they didn't have to do that. They could have, maybe they did try to reach out to Jordan. Wouldn't it have been cool if instead of that, like they had like him and Jordan playing golf on some golf course, and that's how it happened again? Or maybe
Yeah,
they
they
were
got them
playing,
both.
yeah, maybe they were playing on some like new type of like Top Golf built this new type of technology where there's like this digital golf course space that you come in there and all the holes are like digitized, the balls are digitized. Dang, I'm throwing out $1 million ideas. But yeah, the whole thing is like digitized. So you're hitting it and you get to see it reflect off of different screens. What if that was it? And then somebody saw LeBron there and then they like trapped him in that way. There's so many things. And I think that that's one of the things that I didn't get from the movie. I didn't get enough of some of the cool like references to the the previous movie. Even the like I guess one of the things I was saying, I didn't even get enough of the other basketball players that were supposed to be actors. I wish I would have got to see a little bit more of them because that was really interesting in the last movie, right? Seeing Muggsy Bogues not being able to dribble anymore, and Patrick Ewing all
Yeah.
like sitting on the bench like my game is lost.
And
Like I don't know what I'm gonna do without it.
Charles Barkley had all this like existential crises stuff going on
Yeah.
because he was seeing a psychiatrist and going to church and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that those little small parts made the movie, and like I said, I think that this is how we can say that the movie wasn't necessarily developed maybe for LeBron James. I think it was really there to talk about Warner Brothers. And another note, when we were talking about that, did the algorithm make the movie and stuff, and did it do this? There was these little subtle things in the movie that as we're talking about it, I'm starting to pick up on. And remember when Bugs was like, yeah, the algorithm split up me and my friends. Maybe that's why we didn't see as much Looney Tunes because the algorithm was like, kids don't want this. They want something different. You should put more of this show in and take less of the Looney Tunes. Like get away from that because that crowd doesn't watch this anymore. And they put those little small things in there, and they made Bugs Bunny seem like he was a very sad, lonely guy, like
Yeah.
everybody had left
Yeah.
him for 15 years and he was just by himself, the only one on Looney Tune land or whatever. And it
The
was
whole
just,
planet or something.
yeah, I didn't even realize that um the movie was about him so much until the end when he took the shot. And I was like, I didn't even know he was that much of an overall like super central character. Like I thought he was a central character because LeBron had to have like a sidekick, someone to like be there.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wait, is it about LeBron? Is it about Bugs? Like, who is this about? And that again,
Right.
this is
So
why we had to watch it so many times. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so we know that Bugs Bunny is the most important of the Looney Tunes, right? So
Yeah,
by default, he's kind of the leader. He's always the one who has the most charisma. In the first movie, he convinced them all about the Mike's secret stuff. So he's supposed to be the leader. So I understand why it's supposed to be about him as much as it is about LeBron in a sense. But he got sidelined really. Like they did so much stuff with other people,
yeah,
and when they were going on these rescue missions to pick up the other tunes, he wasn't really doing very much. So
yeah,
I think that Bugs didn't get a whole lot, and that last little moment was kind of the shine that he did get. And like I told you, a lot of people think that the reason why he took that shot was because he knew LeBron wasn't the closer. That's what a lot of people are saying. They say that Bugs knew LeBron's reputation in the clutch, and he said, "I'm gonna have to do this so I can win this game because I know that there's nobody else that's gonna. I'm the D Wade of this team." And so he did the move, took the shot, and LeBron cleaned it up for him. But somebody's got to take that shot. Also, did you notice the Lola Bunny? She did the little D Wade running off with her arms spread after she did the pass to LeBron.
oh,
You remember that?
oh no, I don't remember that one. I'm trying.
That
I'll
iconic
go
one.
back and
Like I
watch it
had to look
again.
it up.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I had
know
to
which one
look
you're
it up.
talking
It's that
about.
moment where like it's they're on a fast break, I think, and then in real life they're on a fast break, and D Wade does kind of like a back. He passes behind him to LeBron,
Mhm.
and LeBron dunks it, and then D Wade kind of like runs like an airplane
Yeah.
into the screen, kind of, or he has his arms out or whatever. So Lola does that. I was like, I know that moment. They definitely took that moment from a real thing, and I thought it was an alley oop, but it was just a backward pass. So just yeah, check that out.
All right. Yeah, I'll check that part out. I was gonna say also is his son also knew he wasn't a closer, and he's like, man, my dad can't do this. I gotta throw him this little power up. Take that, take that,
Yeah,
take that. Yeah, but that
but
was
they also say that LeBron was recruiting too. When he was losing, he was thinking about going over to the Goon Squad. That's what they do say. That there was another thing, so that's why he had to recruit his son at the very least. Because if you can't beat him, you gotta disable him. You gotta take their best player.
nah,
There was a lot of stuff
nah.
that was going on that's true to life. A
Nah,
lot of
that's
things.
yeah, bro, they definitely. I say that one thing that they try to do uh is bring in a lot of references and jokes about LeBron James. Like they definitely talked about him. It's like, yeah, your dad, he just leaves things. He left Cleveland, then he left Miami, he left Cleveland again. They definitely had a
Yeah,
lot of jabs at LeBron. They had the jab at AD. What's wrong with my eyebrows? Like they had the whole little
yeah.
thing. So I thought that part was kind of cool. I thought Don Cheadle did a really good job with his character, very awkward-ish type of character at times. But I mean, if you're a computer impersonating a person, yeah, I imagine you're gonna have different things like that. So I think he did
It's
a
like
really good
though.
job as well. So
It's like that Simpsons robot that's like feeling pain, and he's like, why was I programmed to feel pain? Like, why is
yeah.
Algae Rhythm programmed to be maniacal? Why is he programmed to just go off the rails like this? Like, I guess he's more of an artificial intelligence or whatever, right? So either way, why is he able to even have this ego that makes him want to get recognition for what he does? Like, he's too. How is he sentient? Who programmed him to be sentient? Like, maybe
See.
if he wasn't sentient, this whole movie doesn't start or it doesn't get written in the first place. Like we said, since he wrote it. But either way, what is up with him being sentient that no one has a problem with? Those two executives that meet with LeBron, they're never seen again. They never say what happened with the algorithm. It's sentient now, right? It's just like it's all over the
Well, I
place.
mean, yeah, like I think that's the thing, right? When the algorithm was going, they're so used to the algorithm, right? Like if something keeps feeding you, bringing you money, supporting you and your family, you're not going to question it too much, right? Like that algorithm had thought about other things before, and this is like the algorithm's time of saying, "Yo, maybe I had these limitations, but I'm developing my realm that I want to and create whatever reality I want to." And that was in storylines within this movie that kind of make it kind of says my internet connection is unstable. Man, I tell you what. Well, we are kind of like having like a little bit of rain, which we never have out here. So the smallest amount of rain in SD will kind of have that. But anyways, though,
Tony told you.
yeah, but yeah, they
Never
done it
rains in Southern
again.
California.
Yeah, yeah, liars. They were talking about they little area, but not here. Um, but again, so I think that with the algorithm, right? The algorithm developed its own personality, and that's an interesting thing. Like I said, AI is one of those things of the future, and they're really trying to incorporate that as well. And that's kind of like, well, what happens when AI understands the value of having emotions and the value of having feelings and how those things can help you gain in life or do whatever, right? So he was basically saying, I want to be seen. I want to have a presence. I've done so many amazing things and no one has any clue. So I'm frustrated, I'm mad, and now I have to do something very big so people see how brilliant, how smart, how incredible I am, and then he gave him an ego. So the computer, the processors, that silicon got an ego, which is very very interesting. We we change around these ideas, and now we have a whole different type of complex computer system that's now controlling people, which sounds like Instagram. Not necessarily, but what do you think about that whole AI part now? Thinking about like what I said, like some of those interpretations, because I know like I'm one of those deep thinkers that goes into things very far sometimes. But again, what do you think about some of those types of thoughts?
I just, on like a purely surface level, I don't understand how it would have been programmed that way and why no one decided to take responsibility for what happened. But on a more like thoughtful level, yes, the way that people operate today, they are operating in many cases in the case of social media to get approval based on some unknown algorithm that, well, I think people think that they understand it, like YouTube and Instagram and the likes and whatnot. It does control a lot of people's lives. It does dictate a lot of people's decisions. People are having surgeries to change how they look. People are doing so many things to get likes or to get attention, because eventually that turns into money based off of, yes, these algorithms that people are trying to satisfy. So yeah, on a deep level, yes, the algorithm does control a lot of things, whatever algorithm you're talking about. So this movie is no exception. I personally feel like that commentary wasn't really intended as much as it kind of happened, but
Yeah,
maybe they did mean that.
yeah. It's who knows, right? Like, and that's the problem with this movie. I know we're still discussing it, but that's one of the problems with this movie. There's just so many different storylines, so many different things that are underneath that was just it was so hard to follow it sometimes, man. Like I don't know if you've thought about any other movies because I know we both probably seen a lot of movies. I remember scenes or parts of movies once I see them. But have you guys seen any movies that you had so many different storylines that it was hard to follow like this one?
Other than those ones like uh what is it? Love what is it? Oh man, for some reason. Love Actually, or like Valentine's Day, those movies, those ensemble movies where they
Yeah.
all have these disparate stories that all somehow come together at the end. Other than that, I can't think of one where I'm like, just there's so much going on and it doesn't really seem to match up. I think
Oh,
this
oh,
movie
yeah.
definitely didn't have to be a Space Jam at all. It didn't need to be
Hmm.
called Space Jam. It could have just been a different movie completely. Like if LeBron just wanted to have an acting career, or he just did a movie that he just wanted to do, and it was about him and his son and designing games or something,
Hmm.
it would have just been what it was, and I don't think people would have been as emotionally invested in it, for better or for worse. So people wouldn't have
Yeah.
been like,
Yeah.
oh, it was terrible or it was great, because it would have just been a LeBron James movie, and people would have watched it out of curiosity, and they wouldn't have panned it if it was bad, and they wouldn't have like tried to big up it if it was good. Because when you call it Space Jam, you have to know that there's going to be all these comparisons, and all the people who have the nostalgia of Space Jam are going to come at it, right? Like you can't set yourself up like that. So if LeBron was always upset with the Jordan comparisons, or if he didn't want those or whatever, he just like steered right into it with this one. And I don't think it was necessary, because this didn't have to be a Space Jam movie. I mean, just because he's hanging out with the Looney Tunes doesn't mean it's a Space Jam. You know what I mean? Like it just could have been something different. So if it was something different, it would have been fine. But like the fact that you call it Space Jam, now we're looking for the ways for it to have been a Space Jam, and I just think it creates more questions than answers in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. And I always go back to thinking about entertainment, marketability, and how a company views a product, right? A consumer views a product one way. A company, a business views a product as a totally different entity, and it has its own different type of space. And I feel like when, again, this was all Warner Brothers basically kind of showing what they could do. They could make a lot of money and a lot of intrigue and have a lot of discussion if they did have LeBron in there. And maybe that's how they got HBO to do this. They were like, "Hey, we're gonna if they don't on HBO, maybe they made a partnership that said, hey, we're going to show this on HBO. We're going to include some of your shows. We're going to get you some free marketing. A lot of people are going to be talking about this, whether they like it, whether they don't. It's going to be one of those things that gets a lot of free publicity. And maybe you guys get some new people to sign on to HBO Max just because they want to watch this movie and don't want to go to the movie theaters. And then that's the first way of getting them in there. And now they can keep that subscription going. They can see other movies that they like. They can see the different shows. They can tell their friends and families about it, right? So all that type of marketing goes into these types of movies. It's very advanced, but it's true, So you say that's why you got the HBO Max so that you could check out this movie in the pleasure of your own home.
Yeah, I think I had a 14-day trial of HBO Max.
Yeah.
Before, either that or I just had a month, and I watched everything I wanted. I really only wanted to watch Doom Patrol, and I like Doom Patrol a lot. But after that, I was like, HBO Max looked like it had a whole lot of stuff that I could watch. But after I watched the stuff I wanted to watch, I just was like, there's not really that much there that I want to watch anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe I watched Nora from Queens on that, but it was like only a couple things that I watched. And then, so I canceled it, whatever. And I decided I would just get it again for this. So I watched this movie, and then I watched the original Space Jam. And now I'm looking for stuff to watch on HBO Max for the rest of this month that I have it, because I'm definitely not going to keep it for longer than this month. But yeah, you get a lot of subscribers. So they got an injection of money this month based on new subscriptions. But they're probably going to have just 1 month. And then the next month, that revenue is going to go down because a lot of people aren't going to renew it for the second month. Like, there's a lot that seemed like it was going to be on HBO Max. And I got really excited when they announced it. But then in practice, I don't know what's up there. Like, I've seen everything I wanted to see up there.
See what that's what they don't mind that, right? Like, they have an algorithm that says if you can get this many people to sign up, this many people are going to get a subscription, this many people are going to keep the subscription, you'll probably lose this amount of people, and this is what your net profit's going to be, and you should do this because of blah blah blah. It's crazy to think, but yeah, marketing is a whole nother animal, and they're like, yeah, we're winning big time. Most likely, they're winning big time with all this stuff. So
yeah, but it's not going to work 2 times in a row. It's not. Like, I don't think this is a thing that's sustainable, that you're going to put out an exclusive movie. Like, people, if, like, for me, I feel like I would not get HBO Max for a movie again. Like, we have HBO here. So if I wait long enough, the movie's eventually going to be on. So whatever the last movie that was on HBO Max that was exclusive, I don't remember, but it was like months ago.
It was
it's
like
out
King
on HBO
Kong.
now.
It's like, like King Kong.
Something I saw.
King Kong versus Godzilla or something, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that was it. And there was something that I saw that was like, it was on HBO now. If I wanted to watch it, I watch it. I didn't want to watch it though, So like, the only reason I watched this movie was so that we could talk about it on this podcast, because it's the intersection of the type of stuff we like to talk about,
Oh, we can write it off. It is an
athlete, you're doing more. Yeah, right. An athlete doing more than just playing sports. And if we can kind of like bring it all together, since we've been talking about it for a while, I think that it's a good idea to put yourself out there to do different ventures, and not to have any sort of shame, not to be worried about it. Just like put yourself out there, right? That's LeBron does that anyway. I just felt like to make the Space Jam movie invited all types of comparisons that he didn't really want. So at least one thing we know, obviously, he's not going to make another one. So he can't go down that path again. But if he wants to keep making movies, LeBron, that's fine. Keep making movies. Keep doing what you do. Keep being happy. But I think that to set yourself up that way, you know what I mean? That would be just like LeBron's kids wanting to play basketball, or Jordan's kids wanting to play basketball, right? It's just a whole bunch of unnecessary comparison. I think you want to be more like Shane Larkin or something. You don't want to be following your dad's footsteps athletically. So don't follow in Jordan's footsteps in Space Jam. It's just not a great idea.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be that's gonna be the next one. It's either gonna be like Space Jam something, empty space. There's gonna be like Space Jam the we had space before. The story of the Monstars, right? Like there's gonna be some type of thing. But yeah, that's
Or how about
definitely
this?
a well one.
How about a farm where they make great preserves, Space Jam? It'll be that. It's going to be a slow movie, but it'll work out. They make their jam and their jellies. They sell it on a farm. It's probably got Granny in it this time because it's more of a slow paced movie. But
Yeah,
LeBron could be a farmer. Space Jam, peanut butter and jam, something like that. It's a work in progress, but I'll eventually come out with a
something
really solid movie behind this.
like Space Jam, the story of overpopulation, and then people had to play basketball to to survive. It's like the movie 300 or something like that. It's like Space Jam meets 300. Who knows where they're gonna go with these things? I mean, didn't Vin Diesel make it to space or something like that? And isn't that like some type of storyline that's been going around?
I mean,
Anything's possible.
in the F9, they sent the black dudes up there. I think
So
just in,
it'll be.
just in case, just in
Is
case they didn't make it back. Like, this entire
is that already out as well?
yeah, that's already out.
Mm.
That's Universal. Where did that come out on? I feel like that came out on streaming too. It might have just been in theaters though. I don't know, but it was in
Mm.
theaters definitely. I feel
Yeah,
like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
yeah. That's wild, man. I think a couple things. I feel like we talked a lot about the movie so far. We talked about Warner Brothers. We talked about bugs. We talked about the marketing, the business, the money, HBO. We haven't necessarily talked all the way about LeBron. So this part is maybe a little bit rough, but what did you think about LeBron's acting? And what did you go into it with? Like, what was your mindset going into this? Did you anticipate that LeBron was going to give you some type of amazing performance type of thing, or what were you thinking about with the specific situation?
I didn't think that it was going to be as emotionally heavy as it was. So I just came into it thinking it's just going to be LeBron playing basketball with some
Yeah.
cartoons. I didn't think they were going to make this whole like character trait thing where LeBron has this backstory that makes him almost like emotionally stunted, where he can't enjoy himself. Like the character couldn't have fun. The character wasn't really a good father. The character couldn't even have fun with Looney Tunes, and the Looney Tunes were even calling him out. They're like,
I
"You're a
know.
bad father, and you're a bad coach, and
And
you're
you
the reason
ain't
why we're losing
fun.
this game." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's so weird that that happened. Like, I don't know. They wanted him to do so much when I feel like all he had to do was just like have a couple of funny lines and just play basketball. So I
Mm.
thought he did fine, but I felt like they just wanted too much out of the whole thing. Like I didn't like the fact that LeBron was a jerk to his kids. I didn't like that. And I don't know why he would be okay with that as his character. You know what I mean? Like it didn't make sense as to why that
Yeah.
should be the character at all.
Yeah. I
So
think that
it
was an
didn't
awkward stance. Yeah.
it was weird. But like
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
he did fine as
uh,
an actor. I just don't like the choices I guess that they made with the character.
well, yeah, I'll say this. I think the storyline, like you said, didn't necessarily help. Look, it didn't play to who LeBron is, right? Like, even I remember some times when he was like, "No," I'm like, what? Like, it was just too drawn out. It wasn't real enough. You know what I mean? For certain parts, like that's not like LeBron. Like whenever he acted, he always first of all, he doesn't have a lot of facial expressions within acting. He doesn't have a change of pace with his vocal patterns in his talk and discussion. You know what I mean? At certain moments. So it just felt like everything was like rushed. The way that he was talking, like everything was either exciting or everything was like very strict, or like there wasn't any type of natural transition. Like he's having a conversation with someone else, and that I feel like that was one of those things. But LeBron's been that way. You know what I mean? Like he's always a quirky type of dude, right? Even when he played in the movie, um, what was that movie? Dang, now I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll have to
Trainwreck.
remember it. Yeah, yeah. Even when he played in Trainwreck, like his role was a very corny type of role because that worked with him a little bit. You know what I mean? But I definitely think once they gave all the extra emotion and kind of put it that way, it definitely gave a little bit of a different type of vibe overall for the movie. And they put him in situations where, again, like I said, he probably wasn't the best at doing just that general type of acting. So they used the cartoon part, and it worked for the most part.
Yeah.
But I will say that I thought that was kind of awkward too. That same point that you were saying when I first saw the beginning of the movie, and it was like LeBron, like, you got to do this. I told you this. Like, what's wrong with you? I was like, wait, I don't see LeBron as that type of person in real life, and I feel
Yeah.
like that is one of the comparisons that you said when Jordan had the movie, and I wasn't even really trying to compare the two like that, but when Jordan had Space Jam, it played to who Michael Jordan was, right? Like they played to
Yes.
Michael Jordan. In this movie, they didn't really play to LeBron's personality, what he was as kids, outside of Taco Tuesday. Like that
Right.
was,
They did that at the very end. Yeah.
yeah, that was it. Like, and then the end part of it also when he was kind of like talking to his son, consoling him, building him up, like that part as well. That I could see that coming from LeBron, a very nurturing type of father. And it was kind of weird that the LeBron's character was not take it from LeBron the person, right? And it sucks because this is going to be a film that lasts for years, you know what I mean, where other generations are going to see LeBron maybe as a father from this movie, which is a totally different thing than how he really was in real life. Maybe, man, you know what? Maybe Skip
We
Bayless
don't know.
directed this. Maybe Bayless
Yeah.
directed this and wrote this. Maybe he was the actual writer for this one because it is definitely
Maybe,
interesting.
maybe he was trying to boost up Jordan by bringing LeBron down. That's the one thing though, and that's the exact point I was going to say about Jordan versus LeBron in Space Jam. Jordan's whole thing, whether or not it was real, whether or not it was a media creation, he was like the coolest person alive, right? He was
Yeah.
just so cool. And that's what they did. His character, like he got beat up and got dribbled into a basketball, and then he was basically like, I took that personally. And then he came out and then he wanted to beat the Monstars, but he was just so cool about everything, and it didn't seem crazy. It made sense. He was really
Yeah.
competitive. He wanted to take all the shots and score all the points, and that's what he
Yeah.
did. Like everything that felt like that movie felt true to who Jordan was, like you said.
Exactly.
Yet I don't know if we know LeBron enough for any of that to make sense. You know what I mean? Like, what do we know about LeBron that if they'd have written a true to LeBron character, would we have been okay with it? I don't know if I know LeBron well enough, or if LeBron has been portrayed in a certain way for me to be okay with it. Like all I know is when I saw Michael Jordan walking down, getting ready for the game, I was like, man, that guy's like the coolest person alive. And of course, LeBron doesn't have that aura about him. So what do we even know? Because I don't see LeBron as goofy. I don't see him as
Yeah.
super cool either. Like I don't know what I see him as, but I definitely don't see him as a dad who's like, you worked on your fundamentals. Don't play basketball. You
I
don't play
know.
video games. That's too much. I don't feel like he's that guy, but I kind of don't know what he is otherwise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things that's weird. Like I feel like I know some about LeBron. Like there's I feel like there's so many things that LeBron does outside of just basketball that they could have incorporated, right? Like they could have incorporated the I was gonna say the fundraising, right? But all the things that he does as far as like giving back, right? Like there's that part of it. His whole show, you know what I mean, with the barbershop thing, right? Like even like the Taco Tuesday, they could have did something totally different from this, but like just that fun aspect of LeBron, they almost just turned this nice, lovable, awkward type of guy into like this mean guy that doesn't understand his kids, that's only ego driven on basketball and they need to be just like him. And it's like, wait, hold up. Like again, like you were saying, who allowed that to happen? Who allowed LeBron to be portrayed that way? And again, I think this goes back to LeBron. Maybe he was almost just a prop in this movie. That Space Jam was
Yeah,
about Michael Jordan. This movie was about Warner Brother selling and
yeah,
marketing what it is. And this is just how the times are today, right? Like money is the main goal of everything. Market as much as you can. Think about these things. Listen to the algorithm. I mean, the algorithms. Do
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do as long as it's making money. And for them, they were like, we just gonna jam. We gonna have LeBron there. We gonna jam pack everything in there. We just gonna bring in all the stuff we had to offer. You know what I mean? It's like a weird conversation. I mean, I'm in a relationship, right? But let's say, for example, somebody goes on a first date in like Tinder or something, right? And the first person comes to them, they just throw all this stuff at them, just shows them pictures of their cats, like talks about their trip, their judo lessons, like all this stuff all at the same time, like what they ate for dinner, the problems they're having with their cat. You know, like what if somebody brings up that you're gonna be like, wait, this is too much, right? You're jamming too much at me right away, right? It should have either been Space Jam, A New Legacy Part 1, 2, 3, and 4. But there was some that needed to be broke up in that movie or not added, and they just said we're just gonna add stuff because this was our vision and this is what we did. So I think for me, what I'll say is I think the reason why I consider this movie not to be a legacy in a sense isn't necessarily because of LeBron James. Um, isn't because of his acting. I feel like Warner Brothers just didn't really have a good direction that put the best foot forward together to make a good, lovable, wholesome movie that people want to rewatch. Like you can still rewatch Space Jam and have an awesome experience rewatching the original.
Yeah.
But this one, it's like,
Yeah.
what what specific part do you rewatch it for? Like when LeBron talks to his son, when LeBron
Mm.
dunks on algae rhythm, like what specific part do you go to say, oh, that part really made this movie? This was what I
Yeah.
love about this movie, you know? And I don't really find that in this movie because they made it such a negative type of vibe. So for me,
I agree.
I'll probably say it's more of a pass, but I wouldn't blame LeBron for this. It's more about how they
You
developed
know,
them.
you know,
Go ahead.
and
Go
we
ahead.
didn't even talk about the hour-long basketball game. We didn't even
Oh
go
my
into that
god.
as far as like the stuff that was weird about it. But another thing that makes that first one rewatchable, that soundtrack. That soundtrack still goes.
In
My
the
best friends
Space
growing up had
Jam.
that soundtrack, man, and I love that soundtrack. Like how many different songs on that soundtrack are just good? It's just they put so much thought
I
into it.
believe. Yeah,
Like
I can. Oh, shit,
I believe I can
I'm not
fly. Are
gonna
you
say
kidding me? Like I
that.
told you, man. Like I told you, I was visiting my friend in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
and then I believe I can fly came on the jukebox and everybody started singing. The place got quiet and everybody started singing the chorus to I believe I can
Yeah.
fly. Like for real, a whole Ben's Chili Bowl, Washington D.C. Everybody knows where that place is. That whole place was like just in unison about I believe I can fly. You ain't gonna have that. I don't know what songs are on this soundtrack, but you ain't gonna have that with whatever songs.
Yeah.
And Monica had a good song on this one. I mean, the Fly Like an Eagle was on this from Seal. Like how many different songs? That Basketball Jones, I used to love that with Chris Rock basically sounding like Little Penny on that thing. Like
Yeah.
come on, like there's just so much like. And again, watching that one again, I felt something on that one, and it's probably
Yeah.
nostalgia, but I felt something. And this one, I'm not gonna feel something when I watch it again, if I ever watched it again. Like if I did, I don't know.
Yeah. And it was like I said, it was hard for me to rewatch it just because, but I had to because anytime you got distracted from the movie, there was like all these other things that were there that I didn't see. Like I didn't see too much of the game the first time. Like I didn't see when the Looney Tunes came out at halftime initially, and then they started making weird faces saying like, "Yeah, now we're having fun" and whatever. Like it was really awkward too. Like I didn't understand that part. I didn't see that part. I didn't see some parts earlier where the just the beginning with the introduction of Bugs Bunny, like the population of two thing, like the whole there's just so much. And like you said, why did the Looney Tunes have to go to these other movies? Like, why were they in the Matrix? Like, what was the point of all of that? It was just really about
They
Warner
might have been
Brothers, right?
broke. They might have been broke. Like they were so broke, and Looney Tunes weren't cutting it. So they were trying to get jobs at other places. Like they left their planet for work. You know what I'm saying? Like Daffy Duck was trying to be Superman because he couldn't find work as Daffy Duck anymore, right? It's like it's hard out here. And then the grandma was in the Matrix because she needed to work, and maybe they needed stunt doubles. I don't know how that worked, but I feel like they were unemployed functionally, and they needed to find work somewhere else
Yeah, because the algorithm took them out. I told you. When's the last
because
time you
nobody
seen a
watches
new
Looney
Bugs
Tunes.
Bunny? Yeah, nobody's watching Looney Tunes, even though they're. Hey, you know what? I'll still say this. Different show, but Tom and Jerry. If you are able to sit there and not have your phone there and watch Tom and Jerry, you will still be entertained. But it's
Mhm.
it's it's hard to do in today's time, right? Like when you have your phone there, there's Instagram, there's text messages, there's games, there's Twitter, there's
Yeah,
news, there's sports, there's every single thing that you can imagine to distract you, and the time where simple cartoons with cool, clever jokes that weren't too whatever, it just kind of got old for some people, I guess, and because of the new market now we have different things. So I think that coming back to your question, why did they call this Space Jam? It's because they jammed a bunch of stuff into a short amount of space time,
into this
and
little
and
2 hours.
yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
short.
yeah. It was short because the game took a whole hour. The game took a whole hour, so it was just
Whole
everything
hour.
was rushed about this, and even that whole part about, like you said, the whole part about getting all the Looney Tunes back together. That could have been a developmental story in itself, right? Like that could have been Lord of the Rings too, or you know what I mean? Like that could have
That could
been,
have been a whole
hey,
movie.
let's convince these guys, let's go, because we're gonna need this squad. Like, and then none of the characters were developed because they already were there. It's just there was no character development for certain parts of it, besides algae rhythm, the sun. They developed LeBron into a bad guy, I guess, you know what I mean? But like outside of that, there was no other like real good character development. Like I said, the real athletes were there for like less than 2 minutes. Like we saw AD
Yeah.
for 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Like there was no development in this movie, and I think that that's one of the reasons why it just was hard to follow. It was hard to track, and whoever wrote this, whoever produced this, definitely did a good job, maybe from marketing point of view. But as far as the storyline, as far as how it flowed, it just wasn't the movie for me. Maybe some other people like it, and I know it was made for kids, but it was also made for adults as well. So I think that
Yeah.
that's one thing to consider. And for me, just it's just not a home run. It reminded me of
You know
like
what's
a
funny?
a sports version of Tenet, but Tenet was better. So you said, go ahead though.
Yeah, I didn't understand either one of those movies, so I get it. What's funny about it is like, even though the game was an hour long, they barely played any basketball because they got
Yeah,
so many points for each little thing with the style points. How many baskets did they actually score? It couldn't have been that many. Not when like Wile E. Coyote got like a 500 point move or something like that. Like there wasn't that much basketball. There wasn't just like the joy that could have been had in this movie just wasn't because they changed the rules in so many different parts of the movie, not just the basketball game. It's just the rules were different. It was a different universe. And yes, like the reason why they had to call it Space Jam was because nobody would accept a basketball player being in a movie without it being called Space Jam. And you got LeBron in order to validate calling it Space Jam, but you in no way intended for it to be like a Space Jam movie. Like, all
yeah.
right, speaking to LeBron's characterization again, how does a person get Looney Tunes and then tell them not to be loony? Like his whole thing was like, stop
A
having
boss,
fun.
yeah. Is that what they think
Yeah,
he
it
is
was
on the
weird.
court?
Like, yeah, like what? Why would he? I don't get
Yeah,
it.
it
Like,
was
I
totally
guess
different
like
than LeBron.
except for like the J.R. Smith thing, except for when he's pointing, he's doing that. He's in that meme with his arms out. That it's that
Yeah.
LeBron that was in the movie.
See, yeah, it's just the whole representation was just very off. So again, like I said, this movie was just one of those ones where it could have been did or it could have been done better. And I think that one of the things that you were talking about again, like everything just happened so fast. We saw them practice one time and then they're arguing and then the timer goes off and the game starts. It's like, wait, that was so
Yeah,
quick. And that's one reason why, again, I didn't know that that was happening. I was like, wait, what's like? they didn't even have the time to practice and say, yeah, LeBron, like we can't do this, blah blah blah. Like we got to have fun. Like he didn't have a
Yeah,
time of like self reflection that was outside of the game. It was just before, so we didn't get to see him building even really camaraderie with the Looney Tunes until the end, really, right? Like it
yeah,
was so bad timing wise, and this is how you don't make a really good sports movie that people are gonna rewatch. But this is how you get people to sign up for HBO Max,
yeah.
and get a little subscription
But
or
how you
whatever.
get them to
So
also quit their account 1 month later? And then we didn't even speak about this too, the actual global societal implications that algorithm was going to keep 142 million people, however many followers. So algorithm made an app, well not an app. He basically announced on Instagram, right, that LeBron was going to be playing in a basketball game, so that
yeah.
anybody that wanted tickets, I guess, could claim their tickets because they were followers of LeBron. And then when they
Mhm.
claimed their tickets, they got zapped into the cyberspace world. So Skip Bayless keeps harping on how LeBron has 142 million followers on IG, I guess. So either way, however many followers LeBron had conceivably is the number of people that could have been down there in that world. So
Yeah.
had the goons won, all those people would have never been allowed to return to the real world. So
Yeah.
this is huge. That's some real serious implications, life and death stuff. That is like a kid probably won't think about it, but that's crazy. That's just absolutely crazy. And that's another speaking to like watch who you follow, right? You're following someone on social media, but you can go down the wrong path or something. You know what I'm saying? Like just by following him and by clicking
Yeah.
random
See.
links and like, oh, you have to see everything
Hmm.
he does. Now there's
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
danger
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
You could end up disappearing.
Yep. See,
It's just yeah,
now
that's
you're
another
coming
thing
to
that
my mindset of how this is relating to the real world thing, man. Also, I don't follow LeBron on IG either, so I don't follow too. I realize that I don't follow many celebrities on there, and I'm lucky because if I did, who knows? I might have been dead if if
you,
Bugs didn't do the
I
Twitch
would have
drop.
not been able to get up with you. Yeah, I'm like, where's Paul at?
Hey,
We got an episode.
hey,
You up
not
there in
to
cyberspace?
I was gonna say not even just that, right? Like he was about to basically trap a bunch of people online. So what were they gonna do? I guess they probably would have made a military that could go onto algorithms thing and then put it on pause and then take the people out like it. But no one knew where these people were gonna be at until they saw it on like the Twitter live
Yeah,
feed and stuff. You know what I mean? But even then,
yeah,
algorithm was about to destroy Warner Brothers, right? He was about to destroy his own product. He was like, "Yo, I'm gonna erase all the tunes, and it's just gonna be me
yeah, yeah,
and LeBron forever," which is awkward and weird. I just want to
yeah.
be
It's like,
around
does he
LeBron for the
like him
rest of my
like that?
life.
Like, what's like, is he trying to like, yeah? Does he want
He's
to be
like,
with him? Like,
"We
why
can
do they
run."
need to be together like that?
Yeah, it's like we can run this game back for years and years and years, just me and you. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about,
Yeah,
man? Like,
yeah. They went
I
somewhere
don't
it didn't
know.
need to go.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah. So
the writing was so awkward. Like there could have been different things that were at stake other than all humanity dies. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it was
at least a huge
really
chunk of
awkward,
humanity.
man. Yeah,
And I guess you
separations of
also have to
family.
wonder. Yeah, you have to wonder too. Like, all right, so you've seen people like on YouTube. You have like a million, I don't know, like 100,000 subscribers, say, but only like 10,000 people watch any given video. So maybe there's only a fraction of his actual followers actually click the link because you know how people are. They be following people but don't actually be engaged. So that's the only like apathy and laziness is the
Yeah.
only saving grace that people had at that point. So maybe it was only just a little bit of people, but we definitely would have lost the mask. And that's kind of like you can't have that. Like I'd much rather have the mask than not.
See,
Now,
you
son of the
know,
mask, nah.
see, um, you were saying one thing, and I'll try to think if I can remember exactly what it was. Um, oh, now I forgot. Once I if I remember it, I'll definitely tell you. But it was definitely something
All right,
about
yeah, you got to
LeBron.
chime in.
It's something about LeBron. Something about the algorithm and something about the movie. But I'll remember it eventually. But I was listening to you, so I don't care about missing out on thoughts. So that's cool, man. Um,
Yeah.
what was you gonna?
Either way, it was kind of weird.
Oh no, yeah, I was just gonna say yeah, it was just a weird overall, just kind of movie that didn't need to be as weird and awkward as it was. Even yeah, it's just the I don't know. I don't know what they do with that movie in the future. I don't know how they spin it. I don't know if they just bury it or what. Because I mean, like I said, the only thing that really caught my eye as far as something to be taken away that can be built off of is LeBron James, or sorry, not LeBron James, is Warner Brothers showing what they can do with their technology. Like I feel like that's the thing. Like they have this new technology that they can use. Oh, I knew what it is. I remember exactly what it is. You know what the next step is going to be?
What's that?
Um, so this is where Thanos snapped his fingers. That's where everybody went.
There
Half the population gone. Right? What did he do?
you
He
go.
just yeah, that he made this whole movie happen. So Thanos may be the director, the writer of this movie because he had to get rid of all those people. And then when LeBron won, they all came back. That's why everybody was in the movie. This is going to be my new assessment of this. Nobody can tell me I'm wrong right now. So Thanos,
So, so when people got snapped out of existence,
yeah,
they had to watch the Toon Squad and the Goon Squad play for 5 years because that's how long they
hey,
were gone. I guess time
yeah,
works different. Maybe time just works different
it
in the
does.
serververse. But yeah, 5 years worth of that. That was
Hmm.
probably the worst kind of torture imaginable.
Yeah, like you said, we know about time relativity. How that gravity picks up. They were going around some planets and stuff. So they might have
Yeah,
had
they're
that.
close to a black
That
hole.
Yeah. I mean, they were close to a black hole. Maybe that planet was just extremely massive with a extremely high gravitational field. Who knows what it was? But yeah, that's what happened. Thanos
Yeah.
snapped his fingers, and this movie came, and they transitioned them to to Space Jam too. So yeah, I could add that to this movie, and it wouldn't be as weird as what it is right now. It would just add on to the things that are going awkward with this. So I ain't mad about that, Thanos. You do you, man. You do you.
I mean, if this was part of the MCU, now it would give it more validity somehow. They'd be like, oh, that makes more sense. Now, where are the Guardians of the Galaxy? Were the Guardians on those planets? And he's like, you put in Star Lord or whatever. We got a movie
Yeah,
or a stew.
yeah. It's
Either way.
yeah, very awkward movie, man. So um, I guess I'll ask you anything else that you wanted to talk about specifically with this movie. Um, because I think like I said, as far as the movie, I think I stated most of the things that I thought. Um, yeah. I think that
No,
was
I
I think
don't.
yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, I don't think I have any other thoughts. I've said a lot of thoughts about the movie. Like I said, it's nothing personal to anybody who was involved in the movie. It just didn't work for me, and that's just what it is. So, you know, it was there were points that I had laughs. I just forgot them. I should have wrote them down. But there were some points when I had like some genuine laughs. It might have
Mhm.
actually been more at the crowd that I laughed at than anything because I know I laughed during the basketball game, and I tried to go back and like I said I couldn't watch it again because I just couldn't do it.
Yeah,
So I was trying to figure out like where did I genuinely laugh, and I knew it was during the basketball game at some point.
yeah, man.
So
That ain't that
I'm
ain't that messed
assuming,
up. You watch a Looney Tunes movie and you have to remember where it was
yeah,
that you laughed. Like that is so
yeah,
off.
the
I'll
one
tell you
laugh
what.
you had, yeah, I
I
don't
remember
even.
one laugh that I had because I was like, when you said that, I was like, I know that there was something. What was it? It was when uh Granny went against Dame and clicked this thing and made him age super fast, and Dame was like,
Yeah.
"Oh!" that was actually a pretty funny part. Like, it was funny seeing Dame turn old. Like that was pretty funny. But
When you talk
again,
about underutilized, if Dame had that ability to stop time like that, like he slowed down the Roadrunner even, Why did he only play like 2 minutes? What was his deal? Did he get rusty? Like, did he
Well,
recharge his power? He
he
only played
said
like two
that he
minutes.
wanted to do a Dame time thing, and then I guess they couldn't have him in the movie really doing Dame time all the time because we know what happens when Dame gets into Dame time. It's hard to shut him down. So I think that they're just like, all right, we want to make it so that it's an interesting movie. And then Algae Rhythm wanted to be the superstar at the end anyway, so
Yeah,
he put Dame
he
to the
dunked on
side. He can,
LeBron too.
yeah,
Maybe I
he can
laughed at
have it,
that part too. Like how is LeBron getting? He's taking so many L's in this movie.
bro.
How he get dunked on at the end too, right?
No
Like
way he should.
he let himself get dunked on. He let himself get joked by all of the
Yeah,
Looney Tunes. Oh, also let's not forget that Sylvester thought that one black guy was another black guy just because he thought that Michael B. Jordan he thought that Michael Jeffrey Jordan turned into Michael B. Jordan 25 years later by aging gracefully. I don't even know,
yeah.
man. I don't even
That
know.
was a funny
That was
part.
that was awkward.
It
That
was
was
just
awkward,
the
man.
only part that was funny was like Michael B. Jordan. What's wrong? You couldn't get Michael A. Jordan? So you got Michael B. Jordan. That was
Yeah.
good. But again, it sucks that a movie can be so distracting that you don't even remember the good parts because it was so hard to follow. And that's one thing that this movie has. And I'll remember this movie 20 years, 30 years from now as just being, if I'm on Earth, 20 years, 30 years from now as being awkward. That it was just an awkward display. Yeah, and that's what I'll probably remember it as for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and I guess my last thoughts are, do you think that this was used as a recruiting vehicle? So we had Anthony Davis, who probably got promised a part in Space Jam to go to the Lakers anyway. I mean, he's a clutch client anyway. We had
Oh
Dame
man.
Time. We had Klay Thompson, and who else did we have? Do we have another guy up there, or was it just
Uh,
NECA and
I think
Diana
that was
Taurasi?
I think that was it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was it.
I thought there was an extra. Oh, because the other guy was the son. That's why there was five of them.
Yeah.
The son.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you think that this was used to try to recruit Damian Lillard? Because we talked about Damian Lillard on the Lakers already. Do you think this effectively recruited him, or do you think maybe because of his PT on the court, he thought that it was kind of a harbinger of things to come? Say, man, y'all played me
Hey,
how long in Space Jam? Oh man, I know I ain't getting no playing time on the Lakers.
he said, "Man, I told you I was a small part." Well, yeah. So, you know what? Honestly, I'll answer that in two parts. I don't really think that it was kind of set up that way. I'm pretty sure that players talk all the time, text, FaceTime at the same parties. They're always trying to recruit. Like, who's gonna be that dude that's at a party sees LeBron talking to Dave like, bro, you need to come to the Lakers and records it and sends it in. Like, who is gonna be that dude? I think nobody is gonna do that, and I think that this type of thing happens all the time. But what I will say, in addition to that, Dame understood the value of being in a market in like LA where movies are being made, where marketing is so much more compared to being in Portland. Sorry, I said that with too much energy. Portland. So,
Hey
like
man, Portland's got a nice farmers market scene. Powell's Books, I love
yeah.
that store.
But as
Portland's got a
far
lot
as
going on.
marketing though, but it's no, Portland seems like a pretty dope place. From everybody that I've known that's been up there, they've
Yeah.
enjoyed it outside of Greg Oden. Um, but everybody else has really enjoyed Portland and Kevin Durant. But everybody else and probably some other people. But anyways, with Portland, you know what I mean? I'll say this is that light went out. I will say this with Portland though, I don't think that they have the same type of marketability as a place like LA. And if you're talking about trying to bring a player in and make him think about his future and what different markets and opportunities he can have. Of course, like you can have your off season while you're whatever, right? But the company that you're around, the conversations that you're having, the people that you're having lunch with, the opportunities that approach you are going to be totally different in a place like LA compared to a place like Portland, and that's just how it is. And to be able to see like this dude LeBron got a movie, you know what I mean? And who else got in there? Well, his teammate. Who else got in there? Diana Taurasi, who's one of yeah. And then is NECA does she pay? Wait, who does NECA play for?
I have no idea. I don't know who anybody plays for. I don't know who NECA plays for.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check it out because
Well, you check that out. But either way, she's in the movie.
yeah, she is. Yeah, she is. And oh, yep, she plays for the Los Angeles Sparks, right? So that's the other thing,
Perfect.
right? Like I thought she played for LA, you know what I mean? And wait, does she still play? Yeah. So yeah, so she still plays for LA, right? And that's another thing, like that LA connection helped her be there, right? Because there's a bunch of players they could have tried to choose, right? They could have tried to go with Brianna Stewart. They could have tried to go with whoever, you know what I mean? Angel McCautry, whoever they would have wanted to go with at that thing, they could have did that. But because of that, you got three players that are in LA that are there, and then another player that they're probably going to try to recruit, and then who knows? Maybe they're trying to recruit Diana Taurasi as a next coach or assistant coach. You know what I mean? Because hey,
Yeah, I
who,
mean,
who who
I'm
knows?
sure Diana and NECA are on LeBron's short list for
Yeah,
some sort of role on the team.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
got to
for
get in
sure.
good with the king.
I told you we already talked about our last show that yeah, give me Diana Taurasi over Kyle Kuzma. I'll take her take her right now. So what up, dude?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. All right,
Yeah.
but speaking
So
of Damian Lillard, I think that's a good way to transition off of Space Jam: A New Legacy and into the Olympic basketball team
yeah.
because Lillard is the starting point guard for that team. Um, but they didn't do so well against France. And did you watch any of the game? Because I can give you my assessment
No, I didn't watch it. I
because
was
I watched
actually
it.
up trying to watch Space Jam at that time, and I fell asleep. So, um,
Okay. Well, I think it would have been a better use of your time to watch this game because you can at least get some insight as to how the team performs. And so, if you watched any of the other exhibition games, I think what
yeah,
you would have seen was Team USA gets out to okay leads. They play okay. They don't feel like they're dominating the game. They don't feel like they're taking a lead that is you know impossible to give up. So
yeah,
that's what I saw in this game. Like the lead that they had at halftime wasn't a huge lead. It didn't feel like they were dominating the game, and it didn't feel like they were unbeatable. The lead wasn't insurmountable, is what I really wanted to say.
yeah,
So at the end of the game, they just stopped shooting three. Like they stopped making the 3 pointers, and I think that's kind of what we've seen is when the shots fall, they're a better team than when they don't. And it doesn't have to be that way because the French team decided they wanted to attack down low. They made a concerted effort to go down low with their guys, and they had Rudy Gobert, they had another couple guys down low, and they wanted to really make a concerted effort to score down low. And I was like, that's not smart, trading twos for threes. But when those threes stopped falling, they were still scoring, and they were
yeah,
making up that lead, and then they eventually whittled it down and took the lead. And Evan Fournier also went off, but besides that, we just saw a team that was taking good shots versus a team that was just trying to stubbornly shoot shots that weren't falling. And I don't understand that. I don't care if these guys are the best players in the world. It doesn't make sense to me why, if you're down by two with 25 seconds left, you keep shooting threes. This doesn't make sense. I don't care if you can make it. Why do you make it harder on yourself? And it's like just some things
mm,
as far as how they approach the game. It's an NBA style that I just don't understand why they don't just adapt. So that's my take on it. Is like
yeah.
the shots stopped falling. They didn't do anything different than what they were doing, which is ISO one-on-one type offense. So when that doesn't work, then it's hard to win.
It kind of sounds like, um, was that the last time that like LeBron was playing for Team USA where they were taking a few L's and it was just kind of like they it seemed like they just weren't focused. Like they didn't have everything together. They weren't on the same like wavelength as far as like the coaching, as far as the players and stuff like that. And then they had to come to a situation of, all right, hey, we gotta like get our stuff together. Um, I feel like this is that same type of vibe, and this is something that we talked about before. Like, are we worried about these early exhibition losses that Team USA is going to have? We're like, okay, well, I said that I think that this is kind of an issue, but we'll see how it goes. And you were saying that once these players come over, they're kind of short. That's one of the things to think about. But now, and I feel like what's happening is, from the way that you described it, it sounds like these players are just used to thinking that they're going to be able to be dominant because their team is so loaded and so stacked. And Pop probably thinks that these are NBA vets that know how to do what needs to be done to win. So he probably didn't have to go and say, don't take the threes. Like, let's run a couple of plays. And they actually probably needed that, because right now, maybe they're just a little bit too relaxed and they're not necessarily all the way focused. And to whatever reason that is, or for whatever reason that is, maybe that's what's going on. And if that's the case, that's the case. But they're definitely going to have to change around the way that they're playing, from your assessment, if they want to win, or if they want to go somewhere. So yeah, that's tough. I know the France team, like, again, when you're talking about the different types of guys that they have, Rudy Gobert. Could you imagine if Kevin Love was the only person that was there to go against Rudy Gobert? That would have just been embarrassing. So maybe Kevin Love not being with the team was actually partially helpful, but it didn't really help too much because they still took an L. So that's a
I have
little
to
bit
go back
kind
and
of
look
wild.
at the
So
box score. Like, I don't think that JaVale McGee played. Maybe he did, but I don't remember
mm,
seeing him play again. I was up doing
mm,
other things too during that,
yeah,
but I don't feel like JaVale McGee played. And if he did, it was very little, because I don't remember seeing him. I don't remember hearing his name or anything. So I don't feel like they used all their players. And so the other person really, like, is Bam, and they don't really play an outside in type style. So they're not playing with a real big man anyway. So I don't think it would have even made that much of a difference. I just think it's
yeah,
more like, oh, these guys are playing like an outdated style. These French guys, they're playing with two bigs. This is never going to work, and you don't take it seriously, and then you end up losing because you don't have enough guys to play them. I mean, you can, when you get switched, and then you had like Drew Holiday on Rudy Gobert down there or something like that. Like, it wasn't a good situation, and it's not even that really to me, because they still had a lead. It's just
yeah,
that when the shots stopped falling, they didn't do anything different.
hmm
And on the court, who do they have that sets them up? We could talk about these guys being the best in the world, but it just feels like the team aspect right now isn't there. Like,
hmm
who's going to be the guy that gets the team together? Why did they forget to bring a veteran point guard? You know, Maybe that'll have to be Drew Holiday. He's the only like point guard that you would consider even to be close to being like a playmaking point guard. But they forgot all of the other playmakers at home. Like, why didn't they bring Ja exactly? Why did they decide not to consider him when he's probably the best young point guard in the league? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, who
I don't
who is
know.
there that's a real leader on the floor? You know what I mean? Like, you might have Kevin Durant and you might say he's so great, but Kevin Durant lately hasn't been doing much but scoring. Like, in those last few games down the
Yeah,
stretch with the Nets, he wasn't putting up like crazy assist numbers or anything. He wasn't setting people up. So it's just scoring, scoring, scoring. And then you can easily play those types of guys, because once they don't make the shots and they're not dangerous any other place, then they're not effective.
yeah, true. I think yeah, that's one of those hard ones. Like, who else do you bring? I think that yeah, they maybe they don't have those pieces, and I think that's one of the things that we were talking about before, is that they don't necessarily have that team type of feel, right? And when you're talking about the Olympics, one of the points that I made before is you have guys that are talking about pride, right? Pride in their country. And a lot of these guys maybe have played together on their national teams for a while, right? Because they are the best players from their country, and they
Yeah.
continue to get this teamwork they continue to know how these other players play and they can build off of each other. With Team USA, it changes every 4 years, right? It always kind of changes. And they always have the junior team, so they get to play together a little bit, but it's not the same, you know. And I think that that's one of the things with Team USA that is different from these other teams and what gives them a chance. And if Team USA can't get that chemistry, if they can't get that continuity and that teamwork to happen, I wouldn't be surprised if this is not their last loss. You know, um,
Yeah.
it seems really hard to believe, but you know, what I mean, sometimes you just have to be knocked in the head, like by like your head, by like your dad or whatever, just to like get you straight.
Mhm.
Because if not, you're not getting straight by yourself. And somebody else needs to come in and let you know that, hey, we need to do a little bit more so that we can have the success that we know we are capable of and we believe we can do, you know?
Yeah, I saw that Australia Nigeria match match up that game,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was like, is this a gold medal game right here? Is this the preview of the gold medal game? Like both of these teams probably playing better than Team USA right now.
yeah,
Definitely in Australia took it, so just wonder. But France is looking good. I mean, if Luka can put up 48 points a game, Slovenia is going to be dangerous. We've
yeah.
seen we've seen other times where one or two players can take a team over the line that maybe shouldn't be that good. So a lot can happen, you know. And Team USA has two more games that are winnable. I can't remember. One's versus Iran. I can't remember who the other team is that they're playing, but they're winnable, and then they can make it to the knockout round. So we'll see in a few days if that is their next game. When is their next game? Do you know? I don't remember right now.
Not sure. I have to look it up.
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out. But they can definitely make it past this group stage as long as they just stay healthy, and they should be okay. But beyond that, when it gets real tight, I do question down the stretch when they're in a 2 point game down the stretch. I wouldn't put my money on Team USA right now.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely have to, and they have their work out there for them, right? I think one other thing that I want to do, transitioning from that part, but still going a little bit NBA, is an interesting player for Australia is Josh Giddey. So did you notice Josh Giddey when you were watching the game? By the way, do you know who he
No, I
is?
didn't. No.
So Josh Giddey is like a 6'8", I think 6'7", 6'8" point guard prospect that plays for that's on the Australian national team. Very interesting guy. His pass is amazing. His shot is awkward. His ball handling is solid. His defense, he gets rebounds, but his man to man defense or on ball defense is really one of those things that he needs to work on. His shot's a little bit inconsistent and unorthodox, but it actually is kind of fun to watch. So I think that's an interesting player, and the reason why I brought him up was because I thought the Pacers might have a shot to get him. Like it was almost one of their targets, but I think with this the Olympics being down and being on a national stage and playing so well has definitely boosted up his draft stock. So um, it's interesting to see how the Olympics can do that for some young players because there's not a lot of other young players that have had that opportunity to to show what they can do, you know. And when you see Luca also on a national stage putting up what was it 48 for Slovenia,
Yeah, 48.
putting up
Yeah.
48, like again, he's showcasing himself and his skills and talent against other competition and torching them, right? And I thought that that was just one of those interesting things. So I'm gonna watch that game because I just want to see how Josh Giddey's gonna do because he actually is a very intriguing prospect, and I think that he's gonna be very fun to watch. Weirdly enough, they're saying that Memphis is considering getting him now that they traded for the number 10 pick, which
Mm,
is awkward to me. I don't think that I would want too many different people taking the ball out of Josh's hands or out of Josh Giddey's
yeah.
hands at that point either. And I don't think that Josh Giddey is an off ball type guard. I think he definitely needs to have the ball in his hands. He's not a catch and shoot type of guy, nor is um, Dylan Brooks, nor no, not nor is John Morant, and then you're gonna have to move Dylan Brooks somewhere as well, right? And then they also just traded for
Yeah.
Eric Bledsoe. I don't know what's going on. I imagine Eric Bledsoe is either gonna get let go or they're gonna try to find somewhere else. But I don't really think that they needed Eric Bledsoe. I don't even know if they necessarily needed that trade. Maybe they just really wanted to move up to number 10 to have a shot at somebody. But a little bit of an awkward trade for me. But I guess we'll see how it turns out after the draft. So
Yeah. In other Olympic news, the women's national team soccer. So my brother Justin, he loves the women's national team, and
mhm.
he's our official correspondent. So I get my information from him. One thing I do want to say is, you know, North Carolina, we have a great women's soccer program. So we've got a few, Crystal Dunn and Tobin Heath. So I think those might be the only two. But Mia Hamm was a Tar Heel. So we had a lot of alumni who came from UNC that played for the women's national team. So that's kind of another reason to root for him. Justin, for some reason, he
Yeah.
loves them some Tobin Heath. But either
Yeah, I was
way,
like, I feel
he's
like I've heard that name so long ago as well. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah, he loves Tobin Heath. So they lost their first match to Sweden
Yeah.
because according to Justin, they just got out physical basically. He said out athletic, but I didn't know how to say that. So I just said it anyway. But Sweden was just more athletic. They wanted it more. They were hungrier, more athletic. And our team just didn't look super like into it. You know what I mean? But then they
Yeah.
played New Zealand last round and they stomped them like 6-1. I guess I don't know if goal differential is a factor, but if it is, they were making up that goal differential.
Yeah.
So
It should be.
if there's a tie situation, that
Yeah, I
goal
think that
differential is probably going to
yeah,
come into play.
exactly.
So they kept going. It was like it's like batting practice. So they just kept scoring. So that's I think they're playing again tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Or
I think
actually
so.
they're
Tomorrow.
playing in a few hours against Australia.
Oh, what time?
So it says 1 a.m. Pacific time. So that's gonna be
That
what, like
sucks.
four your time, 4 a.m.
Yeah. So yes, I know it was a Tuesday. That's terrible. I ain't watching it. So we'll see what happens in the replay. But I'm sure they'll be able to win this one. But it's interesting, like the teams that are supposed to be dominant for the U.S. haven't quite been so just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Have you gotten to watch many of the Olympics at all? Have you gotten to
Um,
see very much of the coverage?
I've gotten to see a little bit. I got to saw some of the swimming events. I got to saw, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see the skateboarding, the men's skateboarding. I got to see a little bit of that, and I think that was mostly it. A little bit of basketball, but I didn't get to see a bunch. So it's I think is it free to watch on any type of stations, or is it just one of those ones where it's either
Peacock.
NBC or
I believe if you have
what?
Peacock, you can watch some. Like you just sign up for the free account on Peacock, and I think you can watch it. But of course, NBC, you watch it on that, and then the other ones I think are like premium type cable channels. So
Mm,
I think
yeah,
you can watch it on
I
Peacock.
don't have cable.
I mean, I
All
don't know.
right.
My parents they pay for a lot of channels. So I'm currently watching Naomi Osaka play. She's on the Olympic channel right now, so that's kind of if you have the Olympic channel, they've been
I
showing
used
tennis
to.
the whole time.
Yeah,
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 she's
nah.
down. She lost the first set 6-1, and now she's serving on serve 3-2 in the second set. So I didn't expect this. I didn't see any of the first set at all because we were doing the podcast. I just popped over to this just to
Yeah.
see, and she's currently down a set to none. We'll see what happens. She's the most famous athlete in Japan right now, so we'll see if she can get it together. I
Yeah.
did see
Oof.
some of the women's skateboarding last night, and
Mhm.
those little kids. I didn't really like the format, but man, those little kids are killing it. 13 year
Yeah.
olds, they're dominating. The format didn't make sense to me though. So like they had 2 rounds of 45-second street runs, right? And then
Mhm.
there was like 5 best tricks.
Best
And I
tricks.
feel
Yeah.
like doing best trick is I feel like that is easier to do than to put together a full cool 45-second run. I feel like there should be more weight on the street run, the 45 seconds. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it seems like the people that didn't do well in the street, there are some people that didn't even try that much in the street part because they knew if their tricks were so good, they just replaced those scores that from the street run anyway. So people had like they were trying these crazy tricks on the street run and they get like a 1.8 because they knew they
Yeah.
could do a 4.0 score on the best trick later and it wouldn't even matter. It just feels like there's kind of a, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like there's something not
Yeah.
quite right.
Yeah. I think I saw a couple. Like I said, saw a little bit of it, and I think also with the street because it's the way that it's set up. They just wanted to, like you said, they just wanted to like go do a couple of like cool tricks. Like what was their style, right? They kind of got that style point from the lines that they chose, and like I said, it was okay. Like I saw a lot of people falling off their skateboards, and the guys' side and stuff like that. In the street portion, which maybe it was what it was, but that best trick portion, I think, like you said, it allowed them, in a sense, also to really control what they were doing, right? Um, best trick is like is dope, right? Like the half pipe with Tony Hawk, that was like one of the most memorable things ever. So I think that it was an interesting type of format with that whole five best trick thing at the end. Um, but this was the first year of skateboarding at the
Yeah,
Olympics, so I can
yeah,
imagine it might change a little bit in the future just to kind of give a better type of vibe and make it a little bit more, I don't know, I guess equal with the two different parts. But overall, I love the skateboarding part. I thought that was pretty cool, and I hope that they continue to bring that back. Like I said, the world of sports is always growing, and the international attention that different sports are getting is growing as well. So, like I said, I'm glad that the Olympics are able to showcase that. I know that, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm glad the Olympics are able to showcase that. Um, Outside of all other issues that may be going on, I'm glad that it seems that a lot of the athletes are enjoying themselves, and the viewers are seeming to be able to enjoy themselves as well. But I definitely know that there's a lot of things that are going on over there in Japan right now related to the Olympics that could have and needed to be better. So I'll leave that.
yeah,
I'll leave that at that part. So
yeah. I think everything else is, the Olympics is cool. I, I'm trying to get into them because it just didn't call me this year, right? There
yeah, it doesn't
wasn't like
feel like it.
a need to watch the Olympics. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to watch them because they're on and it's interesting to watch. But the time is so weird. Like I don't know when stuff is on, when it's live, when it's tape delay, and when I can
yeah,
just go and like find a replay. So I don't know. It's
yeah.
hard to
It's
say, but
very
I'm glad it's on and I'll get like super into it, I'm sure.
yeah. Like I said, I think that I had that same type of mindset. It was just kind of like it's a little bit harder to watch than I anticipated. Like I used to make time for certain parts of the Olympics where I could sit there and just kind of like watch different sports in the Olympics just happen constantly. I didn't really care what it was, like the skeet shooting or whatever, or not the skeet shooting, the air rifles and the skis and going around. I'd be like, man, I don't know what this is, but this is entertaining. This is interesting. You know what I mean? And I think the fans also helped make that one of the things that was interesting, like them cheering on or whatever, or uh whatever it might have been. Like I feel like that this year just doesn't have that same type of vibe. It's kind of like a sports event that's happening, but haven't really bought all the way into it. So
Yeah.
it's really weird. I think that this is still that hangover from COVID affecting sports, because we've had that with college sports as well, right? We talked about how we didn't watch as many of those, um, and even like NFL, NBA. Like I think that as the economy starts to change, as people start going out more often, as sports marketing gets a little bit more in your face, we'll start to see the game change a little bit as well. So, all
Yeah. So
right.
That I
Well,
think covers all the stuff I wanted to say. I mean, I
yeah,
I just started playing NBA Jam again because of Space Jam. It made me think of NBA Jam. I was like, I'll play NBA Jam.
yeah,
Do you remember playing NBA Jam? Is it as hard?
yeah.
It's ridiculous how hard that game is. I don't know why. I feel like there's some things I could do different. But do you remember it being super hard?
uh, I feel like I remember it being super hard, but after a while, right, you got better at it, and then you didn't remember it being that hard because you were past that level of learning, and you were able to actually use your skills. And now when you're going back, you're like, what is every time I go up, they're blocking my shot. Like, why can't Reggie Miller shoot any threes? Like I played it not too long, well, it was probably like a year ago, and I was like, man, this game is a lot harder than I anticipated. I was like, I don't remember the controls. I don't remember how to get on fire and how to utilize it the right way. Like it was bad, man. But it's definitely still
Yeah.
a good game. Um,
Any
and we should
NBA Jam fans, please let us know how to win. So here's some things that I figured out. I figured out number one that goaltending. I think I used to know this. Goaltending preserves your fire. So if you're like heating up and they shoot a shot, goaltend it, and then you can go down and be on fire, and then you can goaltend for the rest of the time, and you'll stay on fire. So that's one thing. I learned that shooting a three without holding turbo was the best way to actually hit the three. So I'm shooting threes better now because I lift off the turbo and then I can make the three better. When you rebound, and rebounding is the
yeah.
hardest thing in NBA Jam. I don't know why rebounding is so hard, but you can put it
Mhm.
right back up. I didn't know that until just like yesterday. I found out you can put it right back up after you rebound without having to hit the ground. So that's one way to also, you don't get blocked
That's
or
fun, man.
anything. And I also used to be pretty good at timing the push so that if they did a huge dunk, you could still push them when they came down on even the biggest dunks.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I
that.
just don't have that timing anymore.
Yeah, it takes a while. Like I said, once you get it back though, you're just gonna be like just floating, and you're gonna forget that learning curve that was there. So, um,
I think I'm good, man. I play like 4 or 5 teams, and I'm like, this is gonna be ridiculous. I can't even beat like the fourth team.
yeah,
I'm
do
just,
a
I'm
season,
just,
man.
ah, I'm doing it. Where you do head to head, and then
Yeah,
I save the passwords and stuff. It's ridiculous. I don't even want to do it anymore.
yeah.
The game is so stressful. It's like the
It's a
rap game. It's
challenge, man.
stressful.
It'll take
I
over. It'll
don't
take
even know
over
if I
your
want to
life,
do it.
man. Rap game is
It's
stressful.
hard.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I was gonna ask, are you down for our speed round, our quick hitting round?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So today we're gonna do a quick hitting round. Jeremy introduced one of these a second ago. So I guess we can go back and forth till we get to 10. Well, what I like to do, I'm gonna set a timer. I'm gonna set a timer for let's say I'll set it for let's see 10, 20 seconds each. Nah, yeah,
2 minutes.
I'll yeah, I'm gonna set it for 2 minutes. Maybe we won't get to all the way, but we'll get as close as we can. So for 2 minutes, this is our speed round. So are you ready for the question?
Sure, go for it.
All right. We talked about uh Space Jam, the movie. We talked about Space Jam 2. So what I need from you is the trilogies of these movies. What are they gonna be named? And what athlete, I'll say to make it easier, what NBA player is going to be the star of that movie? All right, ready?
All right.
Go. All right, go ahead.
Space Jam 3?
Yeah, Space
Talking
Jam
about
3.
Space
What's
Jam
it going to
3?
be? Yeah, what's Space Jam
Giannis.
3 going to be?
Giannis. It's gonna
What's
be
it going to
Giannis
be
and it's gonna
titled?
be Space Jam. It's gonna be the Greek Freak. It's just gonna call it the Greek Freak.
The Greek Freak. All right, cool.
But it's gonna
Um,
definitely be Giannis.
I say that they're going to go international. It's going to be Ben Simmons, and it's going to be Space Jam 4, the Redemption movie. All right.
Okay.
Space Jam 5. Who you got?
Oh, Space Jam 5. Um Bronny James.
Yeah. What's that one gonna be called?
Oh, that's gonna be continuing a legacy.
All right, cool. A new legacy starts, continues the legacy. All right, cool. I'm gonna go with um, Space Jam 6. Uh, it's gonna be called Slovenia. Space Jam 6 Slovenia, and
Okay.
it's gonna be starring Luca, and Luca's gonna be doing a bunch of things. I wish I would have thought about the storyline as well, but yes, Slovenia. That's just gonna be the name.
Okay. All right. Well then, all right. Then we'll go Space Jam 8. It's gonna have Ja Morant. It's gonna be Space Jam. There it is.
Space
There it
Jam.
is.
All
There it
right.
is.
Space Jam. I like that. I'll make the last one. I think the last one's gonna be Space Jam 9. Mikey's back, and I'm talking about Mikey from Instagram, Mikey NIL, Mikey
Your
the high
boy
school
Mikey.
millionaire, Mikey. Yeah, that's he's gonna be the next one, and it's just gonna be called All Dunks, and it's just gonna be Mikey in that one. All right.
They're gonna be like, give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything.
Give it to Mikey. You're gonna be like, yeah, we got Michael B. Jordan, Michael A. Jordan, and then we got Mikey. Just Mikey. So yeah, I'm down for it, man. Man, that was cool. We made it, and we did a really good job with that little 2 minute segment. So um definitely chime in, let us know who you guys think as far as the next Space Jam movies. What type of legacies are you gonna leave on the movie titles? We need to know. We need to know what you guys think. And maybe we'll come up with some cool little storylines for some of these movies. Actually, maybe we can do that. If we get any cool responses, we'll try to make a quick little storyline for that movie. So stay tuned for
I
that one,
didn't
and that
check.
gives you something to think about next time.
Did anybody
Nah,
show up? Okay.
nah, not yet. Just yeah. So, but we did have some
I
views
should
from the
probably
other show. Hmm?
okay, next time we do it, I should probably be on the laptop and at least see it on the laptop or something. I'm sure there's another way I can
Hmm.
monitor it. That way I can see and at least like comment as myself or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
next time.
yeah. Yeah. Sounds good. I commented on that one, so glad we got that in there. And like I said, I'm happy that we were able to see this and talk about this movie. For whatever it was, we watched it, and now we have a different experience that we've had in our life. Um, so, yeah,
Yeah. So I
go
think what
Space
we
Jam: A
can
New
do,
Legacy.
um, I'll just try to put like I'll see what I put up next time, but definitely put up
That's cool. We can
part
go
of that
offline before that.
conversation, not the whole. All right. Yeah, go for it. Let's do that then.
All right. So this
I
is
mean, yeah, we don't have to put up the whole video or whatever.
it's
If
already up
anybody stayed
on.
this long, they're a trooper.
Yeah, it's cool. It's
I'm just
already
saying,
up.
if they really did it, they're a trooper. They're one of
It,
our true fans.
it's okay. It'll be up
So,
for forever at some point, just like Space Jam: A New Legacy will
like
be
Space Jam: A
around
New Legacy,
forever.
yeah, yeah,
So they'll use
yeah.
this 50 years from now, talking about how we're how we're like, yeah, nobody showed up, but next week though. No, but with that said, this is Beyond Sports with Paul and Jeremy. I'm Paul.
I'm Jeremy.
All right, and thank you guys for listening. I hope you had a really good experience checking out this show, and yeah, until next time, take care.
See ya. Osaka's
Peace.
match point down, double match point down right now.
Double much
She
point
about to
down. You
lose.
guys remember that? She
Yeah.
about to lose. That's we're signing off with
Oh
she
wow,
about to
everybody's
lose.
still here.